Chapter 28. For the next 2 days, Sharmelle had what she considered a normal life. Dinner with King was nice, not romantic, but nice. He told her about the project he's working on in South Georgia, photographing farmland owned by black farmers as part of a national exhibition related to a $1 billion federal government settlement for the farmers. They parted with another peck on the cheek, which both amused and slightly frustrated Sharmelle. Sharmelle and Jacqueline wrapped up 2 ongoing cases related to insurance and medical claims, and Sharmelle was grateful that Jacqueline kept the office running with her usual efficiency, so the trip to Detroit had not set anything behind. But every day during those 2 days she heard from Lucian Hayes, reminding her that his mother was eager to see her as soon as possible. Sharmelle managed to stall by explaining how busy she was, but she was now running out of excuses. So she agreed to visit the First Lady the next day, and she knew her stretch of normal life was hours away from coming to an end. She did have the Surge Youth Group meeting later that night to distract her. Lyra was making a presentation about careers in broadcast journalism and bringing along a news photographer, producer, and a director from her team at the TV station, and the following week the youth group would be visiting the station in person. Sharmelle got to the church early to make sure Lyra and the crew had everything they needed to set up before the young people arrived, and it was early enough for her sister to go into reporter mode in their personal conversation. "So, sis, how was Detroit? But first, how was dinner with King?" "How did you know about that?" Sharmelle asked. "He talked to Cassius after the airport run, and Cassius told me." But before Lyra could interrogate her even more, out of the corner of her eye she spotted, no, it couldn't be, Lucian Hayes. "Deacon Hayes, I certainly didn't expect to see you tonight. Thank you for coming, but this is above and beyond the call of duty." "Oh, I'm glad to be here, Sharmelle. Cecilia is with Mom until I can get back, and to be honest, I needed a little break. She's doing so well that she's back to ordering me around and telling the hospital staff exactly what they need to do to make her last few hours there as pleasant as possible." "That's our First Lady," Lyra said, which made Lucian smile. "And Sharmelle, she wants you to be her first guest when she gets home tomorrow. She's been asking for you every day, and she seems almost desperate to see you. I'm guessing this hospital stay has her thinking about when Dad went home to be with the Lord so suddenly, and what a great help you were to her until we could get here. And she often says when everybody else was getting on with their lives and she was still grieving, you were still there, checking up on her every day and making sure she got out of the house. She hasn't forgotten your kindness. She talks about that all the time. And we're bringing her to our house, so feel free to stop by any time." "Deacon Hayes, you are right. You have no idea why she's so anxious to see me," Sharmelle thought. As she drove home, Sharmelle thought about how successful the night Surge meeting was. They ended up with 50 high school students, including some from the neighborhood who don't regularly attend First Ave. Sharmelle prayed that Surge would inspire them to join the youth group and start attending church. They were fascinated with the behind-the-scenes stories of what all goes on at a television station and what it takes to get the news on the air every day. And of course, they loved seeing Lyra in person, and she graciously took pictures with all of them. Sharmelle did not sleep much that night, tossing and turning as she thought about how to tell Etta Hayes all that she learned about Marcus Pierce's life in Detroit. She prayed for God to give her the words to say and exactly how to say them. She wrote in her journal, "I'm about to deliver what could be life-changing news to an elderly woman recovering from a heart procedure. Jesus, your timing is really something else on this one." It wasn't too often that she awoke before Nancy Drew's stretches and purrs, but the next morning was one of those days. She completed her morning tasks and was in the office by 7:45 and already at work with a mug of steaming hot coffee with cinnamon and half for herself and Jacqueline when she arrived at 8. They had a relatively calm day, interviewed a few prospective clients over the phone and one in person who was trying to locate an estranged brother that she hadn't seen since some family funeral drama 15 years ago. Sharmelle spent much of the rest of the afternoon watching the clock since she told Lucian she'd be by to see First Lady Hayes at 3. She arrived at precisely 2:58. Lucian and Cecilia were both working from home upstairs, so she and First Lady Hayes had plenty of privacy downstairs. Cecilia and I are right upstairs. If you need anything, let us know. And, Mom, don't tire yourself out. I know Sharmelle will understand. Remember, Dr. Reynolds said even the miracle woman needs to rest. Sharmelle was relieved to see her and to see how well she looked. Well, First Lady, as we always say in church, you certainly don't look like what you've been through. How are you feeling? Oh, everybody is making a big fuss over me. I'm fine. Obviously, the good Lord wasn't ready to reunite me with Henry in heaven just yet. But the nurses said I had a very close call, which of course had me thinking about our project. And well, you might not believe this, but that first night in the hospital, I had a dream that you found Marcus. You found him and brought him here to Pearl City. The dream was clear as day. I guess I sound like the ramblings of a crazy old woman, don't I? No, First Lady. No, you don't. Sharmelle grabbed her hand and held it gently. I don't know if they told you I was out of town when you were taken to the hospital. I was in Detroit because I tracked down Marcus Pierce. He lives there, and before she could finish her next sentence, Etta interrupted. You found Marcus? So he's still alive? Did you see him? Did you talk to him? No, ma'am, I didn't see or talk to him, but I did find him and found out a lot about him. Sharmelle gave Etta Hayes a step-by-step account of the trail that led her to Marcus Pierce, the online searches, the dead ends, and finally reaching out to Liz. She told her in detail everything she learned about Marcus, the beauty salon fire, the police investigation, Lieutenant Nix and his involvement with Mrs. Pierce, Mrs. Nix showing up at her hotel room, driving them to the Pierce neighborhood, all the details. Etta Hayes listened, without making any comments each time Sharmelle delivered a new detail or discovery. And when Sharmelle was finished, Etta asked her first question. Well, do he and his wife have children? What did you find out about his family? That will be the next phase of the investigation. Right now, I know that he and Angie have 2 daughters. Sharmelle could tell Mrs. Hayes looked shocked. Angie? Etta Hayes asked. Oh, yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. I keep calling her Mrs. Pierce. That's her first name, his wife, Angie. Sharmelle? Angie, is that short for Angeline? I don't know, Miss Etta. Everyone just called her Angie. Why do you ask? If her first name is Angeline, I know her. That was my roommate at the college.